Hi, my name is Devin. I'm one of the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Portfolio Librarians here at the Greater Victoria Public Library. And I am bringing you Opera 201 with Pacific Opera Victoria's Civic Engagement Quartet. And I'd love if they would all introduce themselves to you.
I am Simon Chalifoux. I'm based in Montreal.
Hi there, my name is Ryan. I'm a countertenor originally from Newfoundland, but living and working in beautiful Toronto.
Hello there, my name is Mike Fan Zuming. I'm a tenor with the Civic Engagement Quartet, and I'm currently based in Toronto. And I want to acknowledge that it's the land of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabeg, and Huron-Wendat peoples.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Gray. I'm a soprano and composer, also zooming in from Toronto.
Oh, that's great. Thank you all for that. So I have a set of questions, and the first one I'm going to ask you all is, what is changing in the business of opera? And as an emerging performer, what new opportunities are you most excited about?
So I'll start. I'd say that one of the main issues that opera is seeing is that there's less and less money injected in opera companies, which has a lot of downsides to it. But there's also a great thing that happens with that is that the market is now open for smaller company to pop out. And so there's been a lot of indie project and indie companies that have started to grow and reach out to many, many people. This brings the fact that if you have indie companies, they'll often be run by younger people, and it brings a lot of diversity, cultural, gender diversity, and this allows to have a different project. And so instead of having mostly older people, white people doing opera, you have people from different cultural background and gender background putting up those operas and rethinking the way that we do opera and we present opera. And this is such a great opportunity for a young artist to find our place and the way we can shape operas in this sense.
Yes, Simon's totally right. We have a lot of amazing young singers who maybe aren't getting the work that they would like, or they're not seeing themselves reflected on the stage, and they're sitting there underemployed saying, what if I just made it myself? So we're a really exciting moment where there's a lot of really amazing artists who are starting their own companies and projects, and a lot of these projects are crossing over and bridging different genres to involve opera. So no longer is an opera necessarily a big brouhaha in a large space with thousands of people in a 100-piece orchestra. An opera can be played like with a metal band in a basement, or involve different musical styles, different performance spaces, maybe different singing styles merging together. So as a singer myself, I'm super excited to bring, the style of singing that I've trained so many years for to new spaces, or maybe learn more about how I can adapt my singing to fit with other styles. I do want to acknowledge, though, that freelancing is a tough gig, and there is a reason that a lot of singers want to work for larger houses, because they just have better ability to compensate, maybe more benefits. It is really hard with like childcare and all the different needs in life to have that met with small independent projects. So my hope is that these awesome smaller companies that are starting up are going to get the funding they deserve to really compensate everyone just a bit more.
Totally agree. Another cool thing about what's changing in the world of opera for the last 10 to 15 years. Lots of opera companies have opened department of civic education, civic practice, or outreach. They all have different names, but their goal is to bring opera to communities that will not show up normally to opera, or that are not growing up or being around opera. And this is amazing because often those departments have kind of a carte blanche. And so you're hired by them, and then you go into a high school and you present a little workshop of an hour that can discuss about anything that is opera. And so it's a lot of fun. I know that we are with the Pacific Opera Victoria Outreach Department right now for the quartet, and we might go sing in a dog park, and then we'll go to a high school to do a talk with kids, and we're here talking with you today. And so all of those different ways of talking about opera is so amazing for an artist, because then you kind of talk about it in so many different ways, and it's really freeing to have that space.
And I will just add finally that as a composer myself, I believe that there is just no way we are going to achieve diversity in our storytelling without investing in new music. And we do seem to be at a tipping point where finally some of the bigger companies are acknowledging that we need to invest in Canadian composers and Canadian work. So I'm excited to see that trend happen, and I really hope that new music of all different sounds, like new music can mean so many different things, and I just want it to become more mainstream.
Yes, I wanted to also add, being a queer person of color as well, I'm really excited about the positive change that Simo and Rebecca are mentioning. At the same time, not to sugarcoat anything, the issues of diversity and inclusion have been around, particularly in classical music, for many decades and centuries. And it's something that I think in the pandemic, especially with a lot of our discussions about social justice and a lot of the really heavy things we've been dealing with, have really forced those conversations open. I think in other media, more mainstream, such as more popular music and film, TV, and stage, there's been a lot more work done, and it's been slow to reach the classical music world, which is traditionally very focused on the Eurocentric tradition and something that's been slow to adopt. But it's exciting to see that there is change happening. At the same time, there's still lots of work to be done. I still enter spaces where the conversations aren't happening, and there's companies returning from the pandemic where there isn't so much diversity reflected in the materials that many of the other companies have embraced, even some of the bigger ones. So I really think also it really needs to happen in the administration, the behind the scenes work, in the orchestra, positions of leadership, and why I'm so grateful for Pacific Opera Victoria for giving me an opportunity to be here, because it really means a lot to be given this opportunity where a lot of other doors still remain closed, but we're really trying to break them down. A lot of granting bodies are also really championing diversity and inclusion. Young performers that are BIPOC, performers that are underrepresented from a gender or sexuality perspective. So there are some really great changes that are finally breaking through, but of course we don't want this to be a moment of the time. We want to continue to grow forward and to create future audiences and people on and off stage that are more representative. And as Rebecca was saying, to tell the Canadian story, but a Canadian story that is the Canada that we all live and work and play in, which is very diverse and not a singular story. So that's what I would also add too from that perspective.
Wow, thank you. So a lot happening in opera right now, and a lot more still to come. Thank you so much for being here and answering that question. And we'll be back with our next segment in a little bit.